All right. All right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. This is volume 57, Coffee and Charts. Let me go ahead and check and see if audio is good. Someone let me know, please. Let me know if the audio is coming through clearly. As you guys make your way on, please be sure to like and share the video. If you're tuning in from Facebook, be sure to follow the TeamAlliance page. and to turn on the little bell for the notifications. If you're tuning in from YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the channel and also turn on the bell notifications. And if you're tuning in from Twitter, be sure to like and share and then retweet the video on your timeline. And also, if you're not a member already of the Public TeamAlliance Facebook group, be sure to join. That way you will ensure that you receive a notification whenever I go live. Anytime a post is made into a Facebook group, you always get notified. So that will pretty much guarantee that you'll get a notification when I'm live. Because if you don't get it on any of the platforms, you'll at least get it through the Facebook group. All right. All right. Oh, excuse me. A little tired today. Y'all excuse me. All right, so we're gonna do some observation. I've been watching the market from earlier in the afternoon, and overall, market has been kind of slow. There definitely has not been any momentum. So if you're looking at things from the horizontal perspective, there may or may not have been an actual opportunity to trade, but the environment, from what I saw overall, was more conducive to the horizontal perspective than the vertical. All right. Um, if you did not get a chance to see the acquisition video, I did a video on the NADEX acquisition. If you didn't watch that, it's about 19 minutes long. You definitely need to check that out. Very informative, very educational. If you're new to the platform, like if you're new to TeamAlliance content, if this is your first time seeing me on here live like this, or you're not familiar with the NADEX platform, whatever it is, if you have questions, please feel free to ask your questions. I'll see them in the chat and then I'll get to them. All right. So what we're doing here is we're on the NADEX platform. NADEX is a very powerful trading platform that you can utilize to capitalize on your understanding of the market's movement. NADEX provides multiple derivative instruments that you can trade. They have what are called knockouts. They have what are called spreads. And of course, they have what we trade, which are called binary options. Excuse me. In my opinion, the binaries are the best instrument in the world that you can trade because of their simplicity. Binaries only require that you select pretty much yes or no. In other words, whatever the strike price is of the option that you're looking to trade, you're just deciding yes, the market will remain or move above, or no, the market will not move above. So in other words, you believe that the market will stay below or move below. And that yes or no decision translates into a buy or sell decision. So yes, the market will remain above means that you're buying that option. No, the market will not remain above, and I believe the market will move below. That means that you're selling that same option. So it's just simply a buy or sell decision that you're making. And whatever decision you make I apologize. I need to go to bed. I need a power nap or something. Whatever decision that you make, um, you have to be correct about what the market ends up doing. So this is why I said that it's powerful for those who understand the market's movement, because when you understand the market movement, you'll be able to anticipate the outcome of the movement, meaning that if the market is going to either move or remain above or below a certain level, a strike price, that strike price represents the line in the sand. It represents the strike price of the option that you're trading. And that line is the price level that's going to decide, based on the market's movement, if you win or lose. So the movement of the market ultimately decides, because wherever it ends determines if you won or lost based on the position. So the position of the market's movement at the end of the binary will determine if you won or lost your trade. And the reason that that's so powerful is because it's that simple. So that means that you don't have to, figure out how far the market's going to move. How many pips are you going to gain on the move? You don't have to establish price targets for where you want the market to go. You're not looking for anything along those lines the way that you would be with a traditional instrument like Forex or crypto or the stock market. When you look at the markets, when you trade those things, what you're really hoping for is that the market will move by a certain amount of pips or points, like points for the stock market, pips for Forex and for crypto. We don't have that concern. The only thing that we have to do is to be right about the position that the market ends in relative to the strike price. So the strike price, the price level, that line in the sand, based on the market's movement and where the market ends relative to that line, that's going to determine if you win or you lose your trade. And because of that, this becomes a challenge for most people who trade the binaries, because if you don't understand market movement, how do you know which side to trade of the option? You don't. You see? And that becomes the problem for most. They don't know what side to trade because they don't know where the market's going to end. And they don't know where the market's going to end because they don't understand how the market's moving, why the market is moving the way that it's moving, why the market is moving where it's moving, why the market isn't moving further than they thought it may have been moving. You see, all of these things come into play, and they are all falling under the umbrella of market movement. Oh, shit. Tired, y'all. So, because they all fall under the umbrella of market movement, it means that you really have to take the time to observe the market so that you understand what the moves mean. For example, if we look at what the market is doing right now, let me move this out the way because I want to show a couple of things. You see how we have a series of small candles in this area? Smaller candles, then you get a big candle, or I should say a bigger candle than these. When someone's looking at this, the first obvious question is, well, why did it move up here? Why did it move up here? And why did it decide to do that right there? Like, why did the market just decide to move like that and to go up there? And you need to understand the current environment that you're in so that you can make sense of these moves when you see them. If you're in a slow environment, these moves with the bigger candle than the majority of the other candles, that means that the market is moving into a new position. See? It doesn't mean that the market is trending or the market is moving fast or the market has momentum, because that's not the environment that we're in. So you have to know what environment you're in to know what the moves mean. If you don't know what environment you're in, you won't understand what a pop means, meaning that one candle, that just is a larger candle. Like why did that happen? What does that mean? Knowing your environment will allow you to understand what it means during the environment that you're in. So understanding your environment leads to you understanding the behavior in your environment. This is good stuff. Y'all pay attention. The environment that you're in leads to you understanding the behavior that you have at the time. If you don't understand the environment, you won't make sense of the behavior at all. You won't know what it means. You won't understand why the market is doing what it's doing at the time. And therein lies the problem for the majority of people. Is it harder to understand what the movement is doing, going fast or slow? It's harder to understand what the movement is doing if you don't understand if your market is fast or slow. It's not which one. In other words, your question is it harder to understand behavior in a fast market or a slow market? That's what you're asking, right, Lee? And the answer to that is it's hard to understand behavior, period, if you don't know if you're in fast or slow. So when you say if the market is in a fast paced environment, is it more difficult to understand or to see behavior in that versus the market being slow? Well, it's not difficult to understand behavior if you know the environment that you're in. Because knowing the environment that you're in means that the behavior means something different than it would mean in the other environment. So in other words, when the market is moving fast, big candles don't mean what they mean when the market is moving slow. Just on the surface. That's a very clear and easy way to understand big candle. So when you see big candles in a fast environment, they mean something totally different than they would in a slow one. You see? So you need to know what your environment is first. Once you've identified your environment, now you can make sense of the behaviors. So now you can make sense of when you have a big candle. You know now what that big candle means because of the environment that you're in. For example, like I just explained a moment ago, a big candle in a slow environment is a position change. In other words, it's just the market relocating from one area, and I'm using my hands, but let me just show you on the chart. See, this box represents an area, this green box. Now, you see how you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 6 candles that are in this area, and they are concentrated at the top of the box. If you look, they're at the top of the box. The candle right before these 6 candles was a big candle. This blue one, this. So the question is, well, man, you got a big candle here. You got these are smaller. These back here were even smaller. So, what does this big candle mean? What is it doing? Well, because the market is in a slow environment, when the market slows down after a movement into another position, meaning a position change, once the market slows down from the position change, you'll see that it will start to cluster just like this. So you'll have a big candle and then it'll be followed by the market ranging again. Big candle followed by the market ranging again. What I just gave you gives you clarity on what the big candle means in a slow environment. So you now have a better understanding just from what I just explained, what big candles mean when you have smaller ranges, slower environment. Big candles don't mean the same thing that they would mean in a faster environment or in an environment where there are larger candles that dominate the chart. You see? So it's observation and study of the movement that helps you to understand behavior more. Because understanding that you can only see the behavior in the environment that you're in and know what it means by the environment, that's helping you to understand what you need to always see first. You always need to know if you're in a fast environment or you're in a slow environment. You need to know if the market has momentum or if it doesn't. If it doesn't have momentum, you'll see some type of variation of either less movement, smaller candles. Maybe the candles are not that small, but they're not big either. They could be in the middle somewhere. But ultimately, what you would want to see as the market slows down and transitions into slower and slower and slower, you want to see the market ranging in a slower environment, because now what the market will do is it will concentrate its activity inside of an area. That's what the box represents on the chart. See, so when you have this box up, it's letting you see that the market is concentrating its activity within an area. Well, Mark, how do you know that? Because the candles are staying inside of the box. And if they're moving outside of the box, it could be because the candles are too close to the strike price. So, for example, just looking at, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just looking at these 5 candles here, the furthest point that the market went up to was 28. Well, actually 29, excuse me, 29. So 29 was the highest point, and 29 is under this strike price. So that's why these candles are inside of the box, because the top of this box represents this strike price. So you see how all of the activity is concentrated underneath that strike price level for that time. Whenever you see this type of behavior, this is a behavior. These candles being small like this and ranging like this, that's the type of behavior. It's smaller candles. And behavior is something that you drill down to ultimately to how the market is actually moving within the smaller range. So in other words, you see how the market is moving less distance, aka smaller candles, and then within the smaller candles you can see how the market is moving. And you're doing all of this through observation. You're able to see it yourself. But it's just knowing what you are actually looking to see. See, that's what it is that you're learning, in particular when you train here, because you learn exactly what it is that you're waiting to see. And just like like me describing it and explaining it, if you don't train, you don't really know what I'm saying. Even though I'm saying it, I'm telling you what it is. Smaller candles, ranges. Well, what's a range? It's when the distance or the size of the candles are smaller. Well, how small? 4 micropips or less. When you see multiple candles at 4 micropips or less, you know that the market is ranging. When you see that dominating on the chart, you know that the market is definitely ranging. It's in a slow environment. It's in a slow condition. Now, that's part of the process. See, part of the process is just simply observation and knowing what you're looking at. So now, once you've identified the environment that you're in, once you see the behavior that's present, in other words, well, if the market is ranging at 4 MP and my candles are concentrated inside of the box towards the top of the box or towards the bottom of the box, I know at some point the market will move in position relative to the strike. And because of the current behavior in this environment, I know that the market movement is going to hold this position. Now, look at what I just did. I literally just took the information that I'm gathering from observation, and I've determined that the market will hold its movement based on the environment and the behavior that's currently present. I know that the longer I see it for, the less of a chance of a position change that there will be. And even if there is a position change, I already know that it comes down to the timing anyway. So all of these things like become clearer and clearer as you observe, you start to see. Just like another powerful piece of the puzzle. The last minute of the binary. Just think about the last minute. The trade is decided in the last minute. Because whatever the market does in that last minute will decide where the market ends. And where the market ends will decide who wins or loses the trade. So you see how when you put all the pieces together, all you're doing is using the tools and using the keys. That's it. The tools being, the box as an example. The key being observation. So I point these things out because most people look at trading in terms of a trade. We don't look at trading that way. We look at trading in terms of the market. We know that we need to understand what the market's doing first. Because understanding what the market's either doing or not doing will allow us to make sense of what the market does in that last minute of the binary. What's the most important time in the binary? The last minute. The last minute. And this applies whether you're doing horizontal or whether you're doing vertical. It doesn't matter. The most important time out of the entire 5 minutes is the last minute, because that's what's going to decide where the market ends, which ultimately decides if you win or lose your trade. So the key is patience. You have to wait. You got to wait for what? Well, you got to wait and see what the environment is. You got to wait to see what the behavior is. And then you got to wait to see the market actually set up a trade. Once you've properly identified the right behavior and environment, that will allow your trade to win. See, binary trades are simple and easy to understand. It's clear on how to win. The market just needs to remain above or below based on whether you bought or sold that option. The question is the market going to remain? Or is the market going to move? See, you can ask that question too. From here, is the market going to move across? Or is it going to stay? Is it going to remain where it is, or is it going to go across? See, you can ask that question too. And these are questions that have to be asked and answered. And that's where we come in, because this is all clarity given to everything that we do. Just like how we're looking at two different perspectives. We're looking at the horizontal and we're looking at the vertical. Most people have no idea what I'm talking about when I say that. Mark, what do you mean horizontal? In other words, when the market slows down and it's in a slower, smaller candle environment, you'll see that those candles will cluster together and the market will be moving across over time. See, when there's more momentum in the market moves more substantially now in the 1 minute time frame. So you'll see the vertical movement exacerbated, meaning that there will be more vertical movement versus horizontal. The candles will be bigger, longer, they'll stretch further. Why? There's more momentum in the market. What does that mean? There's more push. See? Bigger moves, further distance of the moves, faster. That's environment. Just like slow, smaller candles, tighter candles, less distance. That's environment. See? And you need to understand the difference, and you also need to understand how the market transitions. It sits sometimes in the middle. It's not as slow as it can be, or it may not have as much momentum as it can. It could be somewhere in the middle. And that middle area is like a gray area. And you need to understand how to navigate the gray area so that you get to one end or the other. So whether you're looking at horizontal or vertical, you're learning how to stay out of the gray area. So say, for example, I'm looking at horizontal. I don't care about the other side, and I don't care about the middle. I don't care about the gray area. So I know that when I see anything in the gray area, I'm not where I need to be yet. This is where this is where the discipline comes in. There's nothing to do yet. I'm not outside of the gray area. I'm still in the gray area. Ain't nothing to do. See? Now, when I come into the green is where I need to be. That's where my trade comes. See? The trade comes in the green area, meaning when we have the environment, when we have the behavior, right? Range, cluster, barrier. When you have all these things in place, that's the green area. Everything else that's not that is the gray area. And the gray area is what you stay away from completely as far as trades. See? Y'all are catching on to this, right? Let me come back. So if a candle opens up inside of the box, it should stay inside of the box until it closes. All right, listen. What you can't do is say should. Don't say what the market should or should not do. I'm going to help you by helping you understand how to even ask the question. I understand what you're asking, but don't ask the question that way. Otherwise, you'll confuse yourself and you'll make an assumption of the market. And we can't do that. We can't assume the market should do anything. So this is how you should ask that question. If multiple candles are opening and closing inside of the box, does that mean that subsequent candles will do the same thing? That's really what you're asking. Because you want to know, well, if candles are in the box, are they going to stay in there? But you can't ask it and say should. We can never say, well, the market should do this. It's not a matter of what the market should do. Our job is to recognize what the market is doing. So your job is to only see what it's doing. So the question is, well, out of all of the candles that you've seen, are the majority of them in the box? And even go before that, because the box is only one tool. Before you even ask that question, are the majority of the candles small? How about that? That should be your first question. Are most of my candles small? Yeah, most of our candles are small. Okay, cool. It means we're ranging. That means that we're in a range, because the smaller candles are dominating the chart. Now, next question. Are the majority of the candles ending in the box? So in other words, are they closing inside of the box? And I don't have to ask if they're opening in the box, because we already know that if they're in the box, they opened in the box. Question is, are they staying there? So that means, are they closing in the box? That's the next question. And if you're answering yes and yes, then you continue to go until you get further information that you need. Next question would be, well, where are the candles positioned in the box? See, the candles can be positioned towards the top of the box, they can be in the middle, or they can be towards the bottom. Right now, you have these candles, for the most part, positioned towards the top. And because they're positioned towards the top, that's going to make this top strike price the relevant strike price. So that's going to be what you're looking at in relation to where the candles are. That's what you're going to use when you're identifying the barrier that the candles are creating. See, because the candles create barriers as they form. Barriers are just simply the points that the candle or the market is not going past. And if you look here, just look at this little cluster of candles right here. Just look at this. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles here, and the market at its furthest point went up to the strike price, but all the other activity has been below that strike price. See? So again, you're just observing. You're seeing the market is doing this, right? Until it's not doing it. So right now, the market is moving into a different position. So now, if you look at this candle, now the market's above the strike. It's above the box now. So now when you look and you're like, okay, now it's actually on the other side of the box. So what is it going to do now? You continue to observe. See, so the majority of your time is being spent observing. And you're learning behavior. You're learning how the market positions itself. You're learning how the market ranges. You're learning how the market clusters, how the candles cluster together when they're small. You're learning how to see that and recognize it. And what's happening is you're learning the actual market activity. You're learning about the market. You haven't heard me mention the trade yet, because we're not concerned about a trade. See, when the time comes, the trade will come. Question is, are you going to be in a trade at the right time? And the right time is the time when you understand fully what the behavior in the market already is. See? So it's kind of like knowing not to do anything also. Just like if you're in the gray area. If you're in the gray area of the market, then you're not even thinking about being in a trade. You're not looking at trades. You don't look at setups. You don't pay attention to any of the setups that may come. Why not? Because the market is in the gray area, meaning that the market is not stable. So it's not stable in the environment that you're in. Whoa, 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 whoa. Here we are back to environment. Listen, when I teach y'all in 301, what's the first phase? First phase is environment. What's the next phase? Behavior. Behavior. So you're looking for stability in the environment that you're in. See? Stability is behavior. Stable movement, that's behavior. If they're all staying in and small, how will you know when to take the trade? If it's all in the box, any minute at the 5 minute would be best to see. That's the thing. You're not trying to take a trade just because they're in the box. It's the behavior of the market while they're in the box that makes the trade valid when it does set up. So again, it's not that you're looking for a trade just because candles are in the box. You're learning what candles in the box means. You're learning how that ultimately would give you confidence if a trade sets up while the candles are in the box. You understand? So don't concern yourself with trades yet. Understand what the market is doing, and then if you see a trade actually set up while you understand what the market's doing, you take that trade in your head. You take it in your head. You take it mentally. And then when you take it mentally, you'll see the outcome of that trade. And if you're in the right timing, the trade's going to win. But I'm not telling you to look for trades. I'm telling you to identify the times when you see the market doing the things that we're talking about. Slowing down, smaller candles, they're concentrated in the box. They're positioned at the top or the bottom of the box relative to one of the strikes. All of these things have to come into play. See? So you need to learn how to recognize those things. And after you learn how to recognize them, now when you see them take place and then you see a trade set up, because you know that the time is right, that will be the trade that you should take. See? So it's not about I'm looking for trades that are going to win. Because ultimately, that's what everybody's trying to do. They're trying to find winning trades. But they don't understand why the trade won, or why the trade could potentially win, or why the trade will win. You have to understand the why. Once you understand the why, that's it. Now you have the freedom, because now you understand when you're in a trade, it's going to win. It's not going to win because you're predicting what the market is doing. It's going to win because you already understand the current behavior and environment of the market at the time that the trade set up. So all the market is doing is what it was already doing. That's why your trade's going to win. You see how that works? And that's the case whether you're looking at the market horizontally or vertically. Doesn't matter. It's the same thing, either one. But again, just like I've been saying, even with me explaining all of this, because I like I'm literally going into detail. I'm explaining everything. But you don't understand it fully because training elevates your understanding of what I'm talking about. It's like when you train, now you actually get the foundation first without just listening to me talk about what the chart or what the market is doing or what you want to see the market doing, because you're hearing me, but you don't understand yet. See, so this is why I tell people all the time, like outside of training, if you're not training with me, you still can get value from what I'm talking about. Absolutely. Because I'm telling you what the case is, regardless of how you trade. Like, I'm not even talking about a trading strategy right now. I'm talking about understanding the market and how it moves, understanding the fundamental elements of the market. Environment is a fundamental part of the market. How fast or slow the market is moving. That's a fundamental part of the market movement. Behavior, fundamental part of the market movement. You like, by now you should know what reversal energy looks like. It creates wicks on the candles. And you should know what stable movement looks like. You won't see wicks. But then there's levels of it also. It's just like saying, well, the market is either stable or it's not stable. That's true. But what we're really saying is that the market is either showing so much stability that you don't see the instability, or vice versa. The market can be so unstable that you don't see the stability that might be there. See, one side is going to overwhelm the other. And that's what you're learning how to navigate when you observe. You need to learn how to see when the market has so much stability and then everything else lines up around that. See, but you need to recognize stability first. What does that look like? See, what does stability look like? And it looks like all of the pieces that I'm putting together for you. When you're looking at the market horizontally, first thing we do, we got the box. If you see that your candles are staying in the box for longer, that's telling you a lot of information. But that's not enough information. You still need more. See? Candles are staying in the box. All right, cool. How big are the candles? See? Like I said earlier, 4 micropips or less. If you see the majority of the candles that small, that's what you want to see. Well, what's next? Well, are they staying in the box? The majority of them? Yep. Okay, cool. Where are they positioned in the box? So you see, one thing leads to the next. And that's why when you understand the fundamentals, everything else starts to make sense. So now when you see trades that actually set up, you understand why they set up. They set up because the market positioned properly in the box. And it did it with the right timing. Look at that. So now it translates into that trade that sets up that wins. But again, because we're human beings, naturally, the first thing we try to do is say, oh, that's my trade setup. No, that's not your trade setup. That's a trade setting up at the right time. There's a difference. That trade happened to set up at the right time. But you don't give the emphasis or what's the word I'm looking for? You're not giving the glory to the trade. The glory is not the trade setup. The glory is the market stabilizing and then the trade setting up. Trade set up all the time. When the market ain't stable, how do they end at those times? Right? The ones where the market goes the other way in the last 15 seconds of the binary, stuff like that. You're learning how to navigate the market. So understand that at all times, that's what we are always doing. And it takes patience. This is exactly why the mindset aspect of it is so important, because you just need the patience to wait, because it's not up to you. It's up to the market to decide when, where, or even if it's going to take place. Your job is to be able to recognize it when it does. Your job is also knowing what it doesn't look like. You need to be able to see and know, like, nah, that ain't it. Nah. Nope, that's not it. See? So again, the whole idea of the trade setup, trades, strategy, method, you really want to get that out of your head, because if you focus on that, what you'll be doing is looking for trades. You'll be hunting for trades. And you don't have to hunt for a trade. You really don't. You need to just really take time to study and understand the market. And then when trades come at the right time, those trades win. And those should be the only trades that you're in. See? But you have to engineer your mind to operate that way. So instead of functioning where you're looking for trades, you're waiting until you see and recognize stability in the market through observation. Sometimes a trade might come, sometimes a trade might not come. Here's another thing. Just because the market stabilized doesn't mean a trade will come. Doesn't mean a trade is going to come. And you have to accept that. But it's better to accept that than it is to try to force your way into a trade and flip the coin and hope that your trade wins. Make sense? So, these are all the pieces that we put together to make this work. And again, it's just really studying and observing the market all the time. Anytime that you're on the chart, when you get on here and you observe, you know what to observe and to look for. Once you see the right environment, you know the next thing that you need to see is the right behavior, right? Once behavior is in place, now a trade might or it might not set up. If it does set up, you know that that's going to be the right trade to be in. Not because of the trade, but because of the environment and the behavior present. Stability. See? There's only one reason to be in a trade. It's called stability. Market ain't stable, you don't need to be in a trade. You need to know what stability looks like and what it don't. I'm giving a new identifications to stability. I'm going to call it green. So anytime you hear me say the green area, that's stability. The gray area is instability. And we don't operate in the gray area. So that should help you also to just simplify everything even further. Is the market stable? Well, is it in the green area? See? Because now you know that there's check marks that have to be checked off in order for it to be in the green area. If we're looking at it horizontally, you know that it got to be in the range. Is it in the range? Oh, no, it's not in the range. All right, so it can't possibly be in the green area. It's not even ranging. See? Yep, so. But these were good questions. Good questions, Lee. Hopefully that was helpful. If anyone has any further questions, please ask now. I'm actually about to step off of here because I got errands to run. But this was a very good live stream today. Very good. You're welcome. You got it. Change your thoughts, change your habits, and train hard. Yes, indeed. So this is Coffee and Charts, volume 57. Yep. All right, y'all. So let me get out of here. I will see you guys on the next Coffee and Charts live observation podcast. You know, whatever. And if you didn't check out the acquisition video, make sure that you check that out. Talking about the NADEX acquisition by crypto.com. Check that out. It's on the channel. All right. All right. All right, y'all. You know what it is. Mark Fuller, TeamAlliance. Deuces.